So right now, the thing that I had to let the course know about is the fact that Miss Hopkins and Kelly are both planning on framing me. What the way that they're going to do this is by using Kashif and Adnan Shamim, people that both Miss Hopkins and Kelly both slept with. They both called them over when they saw that Ibrahim had kidney failure due to his drug addiction problem. And the fact of the matter is the fact that both Miss Hopkins and Kelly are planning something with Adnan Shamim and Kashif Ferozvi to be claiming something to try to frame me. Now, the thing about it is they cannot make this claim against me due to the fact that they need a source of info. Basically, that source of info has to come from Junaid. So basically, one of the girls, either Kelly, Miss Hopkins, or someone that they could get on their side, has to first go and sleep with Junaid first. And considering the fact that today he has gotten rejected from Miss Deb, clearly proves that Junaid has not slept with these girls yet, which means that one of these girls is going to have to go and sleep with Junaid and tell him what the fabrication material is, so that Junaid could become their source of info. The plan that Miss Hopkins and Kelly from law enforcement have is that they are going to get Junaid to claim that he heard my sister say that there was some sort of a crime that I committed or wanted to commit or attempted to commit or something of that certain nature, that Junaid is going to basically become the source of info for Adnan Shamim and Kashif Ferozvi. The good thing about this is the fact that Junaid has not yet slept with either Kelly, Miss Hopkins, or any of these girls that are part of this fabrication framing thing that is going on. So basically, the good part about this is the fact that we could just ask Junaid right now and say, Junaid, you need to tell us if you are going to remember something later on, if you can remember it right now. Because if you remember something right after you sleep with one of these girls, and people like Adnan Shamim and Kashif Ferozvi saying that, start quoting you, saying that you that they also know something about this that you just remembered after sleeping with one of these girls, then it will definitely be a fabrication and a framing technique that you have been given and planned out by Kelly from law enforcement and Miss Hopkins, my English teacher, who basically want my brain savant locked up just to make sure that no other person's daughter could get what the brain savant money that they could not get. Now, last week, Kelly from law enforcement tried everything, including getting a married woman who is my neighbor walking her dog to try to seduce me by having her walk her dog right outside my balcony, wearing very short clothes. And now I did not look at her. I looked away right away. The way I know that she was definitely wearing short clothes is due to the fact that obviously she would do this to try to seduce me. After that day, I had my balcony closed. The blinds were closed, and Kelly from law enforcement had her bark her dog outside my window while Kelly stimulated my penis to try to get me seduced so that I would sleep with her and then go with Kelly. I obviously refused, telling her and letting her know that I already have someone in mind and I'm very faithful. And so now Kelly from law enforcement has no option. She and Miss Hopkins are working on a plan where they have already slept with Adnan Shamim and Kashif Ferozvi, and they have already whispered into his ears a plan that they have to try and frame me for something, but they cannot work on this plan. It cannot go forward due to the fact that whatever Kashif Ferozvi and Adnan Shamim claim that they know about me, either committing a crime, attempting to commit a crime, or anything of that certain nature, they don't have a source of info for. They need a source of info, which has to be Junaid, which means that until, and then Junaid has to claim that he heard my sister say this and that he suddenly remembered it, and then Kashif Ferozvi and Adnan Shamim are going to have details on this that Junaid is suddenly going to have an epiphany about. But this epiphany that Junaid is supposed to have cannot occur until he sleeps with either Kelly, Miss Hopkins, or any of these girls in part of this framing, which means that Junaid can be asked right now if he is going to remember something later on or not, and that we cannot accept something that he's going to remember later on, and that what's his name, Kashi Ferozvi or Adnan Shamim would suddenly know and remember details on as soon as Junaid would remember it. So Junaid could be asked right now if he is going to remember something after he's done sleeping with one of these girls, like Kelly from law enforcement or Miss Hopkins, that he has to remember this right now, and not have his epiphany right after sleeping with them and having them whisper into his ears so that he could become the source of info for Adnan Shamim and Kashi Ferozvi, claiming that he heard my sister say this, when in fact, obviously, it'll be something that one of the girls would have to whisper into his ears while sleeping with him. So the good thing about this plan of theirs is the fact that this epiphany has to come right now before Junaid sleeps with any of these girls, due to which their plan has already been foiled. And we know for a fact that Adnan Shamim and Kashi Ferozvi, the things that they're giving are not facts, but they're just merely opinions, and these opinions are mainly obviously told to them to give by Kelly from law enforcement and Miss Hopkins, who slept with these individuals and told them to testify against me in this trial, only to make sure that my brain savant money that couldn't go to them cannot go to someone else's daughter either. Now, the thing that the courts have to remember is the fact that Miss Hopkins ran after me very aggressively, and that I told her to back away from me and never ever come near me ever again after December 11, 2025, when she had me tortured by law enforcement just to find out who gave me info on her, and it would just happen to be Kelly from law enforcement. Now, Kelly from law enforcement tried to have me seduced by one of my neighbors just this very week, who is a married woman, and she continuously tried to have me seduced by her to try to get me to sleep with her and to try to go with Kelly from law enforcement. When Kelly from law enforcement saw that I was very faithful towards the person that I was with, she became angry, and she, as soon as she saw that Ibrahim had a kidney failure, she asked, as she and Miss Hopkins asked Kashi Ferozvi and Adnan Shamim to do something to make sure that my brain savant cannot get freed. Now, they are going to come up with this plan of theirs, fabrication basically, but there's no source of info for that fabrication that they're going to come up with, basically a lie. There's no source of info. That source of info has to come from Junaid, but it has to come from Junaid after he's done sleeping with one of the girls, like Kelly from law enforcement or Miss Deb, informing him exactly what he has to claim that he heard my sister say about me either committing or attempting to commit a crime, which obviously is going to be a lie. But since Junaid cannot have that epiphany right now, he cannot suddenly have it after sleeping with one of the girls like Miss Hopkins or Kelly from law enforcement, and obviously considering the fact that he just begged and got rejected from Miss Deb, who is like my mother's age, he hasn't slept with any of these girls right now, so he has to be asked right now if Junaid is going to have this epiphany right now or not, because he can't just suddenly have it right after he sleeps with one of the girls to make up this lie against me. Thank you.